To see or not to see? That is the question. Today's going to be a difficult one because sometimes a film has all the best intentions, has all the best talent put together, and yet, for me at least, doesn't work. I'm here to talk about Chloe Zhao's new film Hamnet. Zhao won the Oscar for Nomadland, which also picked up the Best Picture and Best Actress awards. She also directed a spectacular film, The Rider. And yeah, she did The Eternals as well, but we're not going to talk about that today. Hamnet is based on the 2020 fictional novel of the same name by Maggie O'Farrell, and it is speculative fiction. It looks at William Shakespeare and Anne Hathaway's son, Hamnet, who, spoiler, and this is the only spoiler, but it's really the central premise of the film. Hamnet dies as a child and probably inspired the play Hamlet. And so it is a really serious look at artistic expression, about family, about the responsibilities, and how art interweaves with that and affects our lives. And that's all well and good. The only problem with this film, well, not the only problem, there are a lot, is that it takes itself so seriously. It kind of wallows in grief in a way that becomes everything, because there isn't much story, there isn't much dialogue, and yet somehow it sticks the landing at the end. So this is a real mixed bag for me. Hamnet stars Paul Mescal as William Shakespeare, although we don't even learn his name until late into the film. Although, you see the trailer, or the central premise, it's about him. But it feels like if this were not marketed, that you might be fooled and wonder, who is this guy that lives in 1500s England and goes to London to put on plays? I mean, I guess you'd figure it out, right? Jessie Buckley plays Anne Hathaway, here known as Agnes. And so that was another disguise for me, that, oh, wait, Anne Hathaway's his wife, right? Who's Agnes? And so it's playing with that sort of, secretive nature of this story in a way, and that's all well and good. The film is very, very simple. It's three clearly distinct acts of setup where our couple meets cute, has a child, has a family. Hamnet also has a twin sister named Judith. Hamnet's played by a remarkable actor, actually, named Jacoby Jupe. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. His brother, Noah Jupe, who is known for such films as The Quiet Place, also plays a major role in this film, which I won't spoil, but both brothers are in the film, which is kind of cool. So Jessie Buckley's Agnes is a child of the earth. She, spends a lot of time in the forest. She's very earthy. And Shakespeare, when we meet him, is teaching Latin to students and is a taskmaster. But he does eventually go off to London to write and make his plays, etc. And trouble ensues when both Judith and Hamnet get sick. And it's very troubling for Agnes, who needs her husband, needs him to help out, and it's a struggle. And then eventually, when the death occurs, we are in tight close-ups of people wailing. And I don't think it's the fault of the actors. The actors are fantastic. Jessie Buckley has a very transparent face. You can read every emotion on her, and that is phenomenal. And I'm sure she'll get an Oscar nomination for this. But for me, it's how it's shot and what this script covers, because it's almost like a Terrence Malick film. There's just very little to hold on to here. So much of it is visual in a sort of drab, appropriately drab way for the time that it's set in. It's muddy and it's dark and it's, earthy. But watching somebody just wail feels performative after a while. You just feel like they're all just showing their grief in a way that is actory. And same goes for Paul Mescal when he gets his moments to bellow and wail, which he does eventually. it also just didn't quite work for me. It just felt like a study, an acting exercise, kind of like Die My Love in a way. You just feel like they're play acting at this grief. However, the last act of this film, it all comes together for me. It's powerful. It's also the equivalent of those AMC notifications when you see a movie and it tells you don't talk, don't text. Well, the old Globe Theater gets its own version of this in this film, which made me laugh. But it also ends on such a beautiful note. This is high caliber. And so to go from this slog of a film, which I hated, to an ending which I loved, it's so strange to try to reconcile the two. And it made me wonder, would you rather see a bad movie with a great ending or a great movie with a terrible ending? Because this one's got a great ending, and you just you feel it. It will probably make you cry, and you'll be glad that the camera's not on you while you're doing so. Joe Alwyn, who was so great in The Brutalist last year, appears as Anya's brother, and he just gets a lot of meaningful shots of him looking concerned. He doesn't really have a lot to do, which is a little disappointing, because he is so good. And he's appropriate in the film, but he's not memorable. And Chloe Zhao, I think, over directed this or under directed this. I don't really know. It's just it's baffling to me what choices have been made here. It just, because the plot is so thin, it just kind of sits there slowly watching people coming apart. You may respond to this. Anybody who has had a child and lost a child, my heart goes out to you, and I empathize, and I think this will really bring up a lot of emotions in you. So that's a lot of the world. Anybody who's a parent is going to relate to this film and feel something. And I feel a little cold for thinking otherwise, but I think that there is a better way to present this than what has been done here. Other people have thought this is the perfect film, and I just thought it was skimpy. It's just kind of bare bones. It's a little just not much to hang on to. And that's a big disappointment, because I loved Nomadland. I loved The Rider. I saw The Eternals. But this one, just not so much. And I am curious to see what other people think, because you'll probably think that I am cold-hearted and heartless or dead inside, which I acknowledge all three. So leave a comment below. You can yell at me. You can tell me how wrong I am. But this one, Hamnet, sorry. Until then, see you later.